All right, welcome friends. We are going to do some fun shenanigans today. We're going to look at some poses that are going to work great for swimmers, bicycle riders, and runners. Lots of yoga works for all of these sports, and we're just going to play with a couple here. And we're going to start seated. So coming down onto a chair or on the floor. If you want, sitting up on a blanket gives you a little bit more space for the hips. We're going to start with some ideas for swimmers. Switch my technology around here. All right, so first I want to give you a little bit of space in the spine. So we're going to start with our 6 directions of the spine here. So our first 2 directions is cat and cow. And if it's comfortable to sit cross-legged, we're going to start like that. If this isn't comfortable, you can bring your legs out straight. Or if you're in a chair, this works either way. All right. So let's bring the hands in front of the knees if the legs are crossed, under the thighs if the legs are out straight. So we're going to start with an exhale. We're going to dip the chin down, rocking back onto the back of the pelvis. That's our exhale. On the inhale, we're going to come forward, looking up towards the ceiling. That's our cow. So exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. So a couple more on your own. Feeling the space in between the vertebrae. Nice long spine. Beautiful. All right, so our second 2 directions are our laterals. And I'm going to get blocks here just to show you an option that you have. And of course, you don't have to do it this way, but it's kind of fun. And I personally like it because I feel like I'm sitting up taller when I use blocks. So maybe it's just my short little arms, and that's not an issue for you. So you can have your hands on the floor, but as you can see, I'm kind of, to get my hand flat, I'm kind of coming forward a little bit. I can also move the blanket out. That's an option too. So find what's comfortable. And this is how I'm going to do it. All right, so I'm going to start with my left hand on the block. Inhale this right arm up. Exhale, bring it back. Inhale, left arm comes up. Exhale, bring it back. And let's do a couple of these just vertical with the arm. Maybe feel that length from the fingertips to that hip. Very nice. And then when you're ready, we're going to add a breath here. So we're going to inhale. The arm comes up vertical. On the exhale, we're going to come over towards the far side. Inhale, coming back up. Exhale, release. Other side, inhale. Exhale, over to the side. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, release. Do one more like that. Inhale. Exhale, over. Inhale, up. Exhale, release. Second side, inhale. Exhale, over towards the side. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, release. Let's do one more, and we're going to add a breath in a different way. So we're going to inhale all the way up and over. Pause here. And we're going to breathe into this lower right rib cage. Beautiful. On your next inhale, arm comes up. Exhale, release. Second side, inhale, up and over. We're going to breathe into that lower left rib cage. Very nice. Inhale that arm up. Exhale, release. Beautiful. All right, our last 2 of our 6 directions is the twist. So we want to be gentle with this. We're not going into a deep twist all the way down the spine. So we're just kind of stay shoulders up on this. We're going to use the gaze. So we're going to start by looking straight ahead. And as we exhale, we're going to look over towards the left. The right hand can come to that left knee, looking towards that left shoulder. Inhale to come back to center. Exhale, gaze comes around towards the right, left hand on that right knee. Inhale back to center. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, lifting up out of the spine. On the exhale, turning towards the left. Inhale back to center. Exhale to the right. Inhale, center. 1 more time each side. Exhale to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale to the right. Inhale back to center. Now we want to come back to a symmetrical spine. So we're going to come back to our cat and cow again. If you are still seated cross-legged, hands in front of the knees. If your legs are out straight, hands under the thighs. Let's start with our exhale. We're going to round the spine back. Tuck the chin. Inhale, rounding forward, looking up towards the ceiling. That's our cow. Exhale, cat. 2 or 3 of these on your own. Excellent. All right. You can always add in a few more if that feels good, or stop whenever you're ready. All right, so our first set, we're going to do approximately 5 poses for each of the 3 areas: swim, bike, run. So we're going to start with our swimming first. We're going to come up to standing and then come down into down dog, or start on hands and knees and come into downward facing dog. So I'm going to start in a tabletop and then walk my hands forward just a little bit, maybe a hand width forward or a half hand width. And then curling the toes under. On the inhale, we're going to lift the hips up towards the ceiling. And then my gaze is going to come towards my feet or my knees, or maybe up a little bit higher, depending on how comfortable that is for your neck. So we're going to be here for a few moments. If you get tired and need to come out, you can always come down to your knees. So the first thing I want to do is walk the dog. And I'm going to come sideways so you can see what I'm talking about. So we got 2 mats here. All right, so I'm going to walk my dog here. Bend one knee, extend the opposite heel towards the floor. Back and forth a couple times. If that's uncomfortable or you're super tight there, you can just go a little bit. You don't have to go all the way down. And then when you're ready, we're going to lengthen the legs. You can keep a little bend in the knees. And I want to push in with the arms and extend the torso. The hips go towards the back wall. Crown of the head is pointing in the general direction of the floor. Again, depending on how that feels for your neck. And I want to breathe up and down the spine, lengthening. And maybe one more breath here. Beautiful. From here, we're going to come into a plank. So I'm going to walk my feet out and drop my hips so that they're more close to parallel to the floor. So that's the idea. This is not a plank. This is a little bit closer in. So from here, we're going to lift one leg up at a time. And you can lift it up and hold it for a breath or 2. And then switch. And then pause in your plank here. Whenever you're ready to come down, we're going to come down to the knees. And then we're going to come into our puppy pose. So our puppy pose is knees and shins are on the floor. And then we're going to come down to the forearms. So you can have your hands away, shoulder width apart, or more like dolphin arms, where the hands are clasped together. And then the top of the head comes down towards the floor. If you want, you can extend the arms out further. So we're getting a nice stretch in that whole back area. When you're ready, we're going to come down onto the belly. And let's come into an alligator pose. This is a rest pose. Elbows are out to the side, one hand on top of the other, and then the forehead rests on the hands. Excellent. All right, so we're going to come into our locust pose next. So there's a different version of this where the hands come under the belly and just the legs come up. We're going to do the arms out in front in this version. All right, so arms out in front. And what we're going to do is we're going to do opposites. So we're going to lift the left leg, right arm, release. Other side, left arm, right leg, and release. So we're going to do that a couple times. That's our inhale, exhale, release, inhale, and exhale. And let's do that one more time each side. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, and exhale. You have the option to do both arms and both legs all at the same time. That's our inhale, exhale to release. Let's do that 2 more times if you'd like. Or you can always rest in your alligator pose. Exhale, release 1 more time. And release. Beautiful. All right, we have 1 more pose for our swimmers. So we're going to come into our child's pose. And child's pose, I realize, is not an easy pose for everybody. We're going to, I'll give you a couple of different options to come into it. So coming back up, if you have ouchy knees, you can use a blanket under your knees. Sometimes it's just nice even if you don't. All right, so we're going to bring the big toes touching. Knees are nice and wide. And then we're going to sit back towards the heels. That's one option. If that is super uncomfortable because of tight hamstrings or hips or whatever, you can come up so that the hips are up in the air. So that's an option for you. All right, so from here, we're going to come into our child's pose, arms out in front, forehead resting on the floor. If that's uncomfortable, you can bring the forehead down to a block and then extend the arms out. Or if you prefer, just forehead on the floor, arms out, feeling that stretch in the shoulders. And let's take 1 or 2 more breaths here. Excellent. All right, next we're going to add on to this pose. So we're going to come into a side stretch for our child's pose. So if your hips are up in the air, you can still do this, no problem. If you are lower down with your hips towards the heels, you might need to come up a little bit to switch over from one side to the other. So walking over so that the belly is over that right leg first. You're going to extend the arms out. And again, your head can come down to a block or the floor if that's comfortable. And we want to feel the breath coming up and down the back. Maybe breathe into any tension that you're feeling in the shoulders or the neck. I'll take one more breath here. Excellent. And then let's bring walking it over towards the left side. You can come up and then lay over that left leg with the belly. Forehead can come down to the block again or the floor if that reaches. And you can also keep your hips up if you started that way. Want to end that way. Extending the arms out. Excellent. One more breath here. And then when you're ready, let's come back to center. And we're going to come up onto our hands and knees. And let's do a couple of cat and cow here on our hands and knees. So we'll start with the exhale. Shoulders up towards the ceiling. Tuck the chin around towards the chest. We're going to inhale into our cow. So we're going to switch the curve of the spine, looking up towards the horizon, leading with the collarbones. Exhale, round back to cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cat. Excellent. All right, so that was 5 poses for our swimmers. Next, we're going to come into our bike poses. So we're going to come up to standing. So you have a couple of options. You can just hop up, or I'm going to come into my down dog to make my way up to standing. So I'm walking my hands up, curling the toes, lifting the hips. And then I'm going to walk my hands back to the feet. You can step the feet up to the hands. Pausing a moment in this forward fold. And then bend the knees. Arms out to the side. Inhale, hands come all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Excellent. All right. So let's come into our poses for our bike riders. All right. So we've got a couple here. So the first thing we want to do is we've switched from on the floor to standing. So we're going to do our 6 directions of the spine standing first before we do those other poses. So to start out with, our cat and cow. We're going to bend the knees, palms face the thighs, tuck the chin down towards the chest, shoulders come forward a little bit. This is our exhale. On the inhale, we're going to reverse the curve, looking up towards the ceiling, and then the palms face forward. Exhale, cat, rounding down. Inhale, open up into our cow, looking up. A couple more times on your own, feeling the movement in the spine, feeling that space in between the vertebrae. Wonderful. And then come back to center. All right, so for our laterals, similar to what we were doing while we were seated. We're just going to bring the feet out a little bit wider for stability. This left hand can be on the hip or down at your side. You're going to inhale this right arm up. Feel that length now from the fingertips to the toes. Exhale, bring it back. Inhale, left arm comes up. Exhale, bring it back. Inhale and exhale. One more like this, and then we'll add another breath. Here we go. Inhale. Vertical exhale coming over towards the side. If you want, that hand can be on the hip. Inhale back. Exhale, release. Inhale. Exhale over to the side. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, release. Excellent. Inhale. Exhale over. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, release. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Very nice. Let's do one more. We'll inhale all the way up and over, and then breathing into that right lower rib cage. 2 breaths here. And then when you're ready, inhale, exhale, release. Other side, inhale, up and over as far as is comfortable. And let's breathe into that lower left rib cage. 2 breaths. Beautiful. Inhale, come up. Exhale, release. Very nice. All right, let's do our twist, and then we will come into our bike poses. All right, arms can be out at your sides, low, medium, high, whatever feels good for your shoulders today. You're going to inhale, lift up in the spine on the exhale, turning and looking towards the left. Inhale back to center, exhale to the right. Inhale, center, exhale, left. Inhale, center, exhale, right. Inhale, center, one more time each side. Exhale to the left. Inhale, center, exhale to the right. Inhale, back to center, release the arms, and let's do just a couple of cat and cow, and then I'll show you what's after that. Okay, so exhale, cat, inhale, cow, exhale, cat, inhale, cow, exhale, cat, inhale, cow. Beautiful. All right, so our first pose for our cyclist is our chair pose. All right, so feet are hip width distance apart approximately. They can be closer or further apart depending on how your balance is today, or I've got 2 mats, so it's a little cushy here. All right, so we're gonna start by bending the knees, kind of pretend sitting into our chair. We're gonna inhale the arms up towards that opposite corner of the room. Take a breath or 2 here. Feeling the length from the fingertips to the hips again. And then when you're ready to release, we're gonna exhale, fold forward. And then let's do that a couple more times. Inhale, arms come up, pretend sit into your pretend chair. If this is uncomfortable on your shoulders, you can bring the arms out to the sides, cactus arms. And then when you're ready, we're gonna fold forward, exhale to release. And then we're gonna come up and do this 2 more times. We'll do a twist with it. Inhale, arms come up, palms together, right elbow to left knee. Thumbs are lined up with the nose, palms pushing in towards each other. Exhale, release. Inhale, palms together. Left elbow, right knee. Thumbs in between the nose. Palms pushing together. Excellent. Release forward. Take a moment in your forward fold to release. Arms come out to the side, push in with the feet. Arms come all the way up, palms together, hands to heart. Excellent. All right, now we're going to come into our pyramid pose. So there's a couple of options to do this. If you have blocks and you want to do a pyramid pose with your blocks, we can do that. Actually, we'll do that and then we'll do arms in prayer pose. So let's start with our right foot forward. So what makes it a pyramid is this triangle in between the legs. The idea is that the feet are on either side of this central line, but depending on your balance, they may need to be wider this way or closer or further, depending on how that feels. You can always move your feet if they're not where you like. So the front leg is, in theory, straight-ish. You can always have a bend in that, as much or as little as you want or need. So we're going to hinge at the hips here. And we're going to use the arms to fold forward. So I'm going to inhale, bring the arms up. On the exhale, hinging at the hips. My arms are going to come down to the blocks. Maybe you can reach the floor. That's fine if you can, but there isn't a need to do that if that's too far. So let's take a pause here and a breath or two. So feeling that length and cushion, like taking care of this front knee. We don't want to hyperextend it. And then when you're ready to come up, we're going to push in with the feet. Inhale, the arms come up. And then we'll exhale and release. Bend that front knee, step it back, and we'll switch. So this left leg comes forward. We're going to inhale, the arms come up, hinge at the hips. Exhale, forward fold. You can come down to the blocks or your leg if that's too far, or the floor. And again, keeping that front knee protected. And let's take a couple of breaths here. So feeling the length in the back of that front leg from the heel to that hip socket. And then when you're ready to come up, push in with the feet. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale and release. All right, I'm going to turn. Let's see, which way do I want to do this? I'll go this way. We'll see if this works. All right. So we're going to do this again, and we're going to do reverse prayer hands if you can. If you can't, you can do prayer hands in the front. So it's just hands together at the heart, or reverse prayer is hands together behind the back. All right, so we'll start with this right foot forward again. Keeping that front leg mostly straight if you can, bending as much as you need. We'll take an inhale. On the exhale, we're hinging at the hips. Bend the knee as much as you need. And then push in with the feet to come back up. Then we'll bend that knee, push off, step back. All right, go to the other side. I'll just do it facing forward here. That front leg is straight-ish. We're going to inhale. On the exhale, fold forward. Keeping that knee strong. Just going as far as is comfortable. And then to come out, inhale, push in with the feet. And coming back up. Release the hands. And you're all set. Awesome. Okay, so our next pose is a balance pose, and we're gonna go, we're gonna step it up. So there's various levels of it. Um, your ability to balance, grab your foot, all of that is depending on your how tight you are and how long limbs are, all that kind of stuff. So we're not going to go to the full expression of this. We're going to step it up. All right. So if you have a wall handy or a chair, you're welcome to do that. We're going to start with the right foot on the floor. So you can be on your mat or off the mat onto the floor. I'm going to bring this left foot into my right hand. So if that's not possible, if you can't get that hand and that foot connected, you can grab a strap and put that foot in the strap and then hold it with that hand. All right, so this is our first position with our Lord of the Dance. So we've got that left knee pointed down towards the floor. We're standing up nice and long and tall. The right foot is rooted into the earth. So if you don't need to hold on to the wall, you've got a couple options and we'll get to that next. So our next position for this pose is pointing that left knee behind you. So we're coming like this. So if you've got your hand on the wall and this is your pose today, that's great. It's beautiful balance. Strength on that right side, opening up the front of that left thigh. If you have your balance and you want to add on one more position for this pose, we're going to lift this right arm up as far as is comfortable. Excellent. And then to come out, we're going to come out slowly. Bring that arm down, point that knee towards the floor, and then release that left leg. All right, let's go to the other side. I'm just going to turn around and face the other direction. Grabbing this right foot with the right hand, pointing that right knee down towards the floor. And you can stay right here, and this can be your pose for today. Otherwise, if you'd like, you can point that right knee back behind you. And then this can be your pose for the day. You can stay right here. If you have your balance, you want to add that left arm coming up. That's your other option. Excellent. And then coming out nice and slow, point the knee down, and then release the leg. And if you'd like, shake the legs out. That's a lot of work. Excellent. All right. Our next pose, I'm going to grab an extra mat here. And we're going to come into a supported pose. We're going to come into supported fish. So there's a couple of different ways to do this depending on where it feels the best for you. So there's a bunch of different versions of the fish pose. You want to do what's going to be most comfortable for your neck and shoulders. And let's see. Okay, so she's kind of this way. All right, so I'm going to have this rolled up mat here. You can also take a blanket, or if you have a pillow or something of that sort. So the idea with the fish pose is that the top of the head is resting on the floor. That might not be comfortable for you or most people, but we're going to get close there. So I've got this mat rolled up at the base of the sacrum here. I may adjust that depending on how that feels once I get down. So I'm going to roll back onto it. And then my head is still on it. So if that is comfortable for you, then we'll pause here for a few breaths. If that's not comfortable, what you can do is adjust the mat so it's up higher, so it's less of a back bend. That may be more comfortable. The other option is to bring it this way, sideways, so that it's underneath the shoulder blades and the arms are above the mat. Can you see that? Yes. Okay, so that's another option. And for me, I kind of like this better, but figure out what works for you best. That the mat is along the spine or perpendicular to it. And then let's be here for a couple of breaths. So the legs are zipped up like mermaid legs, toes pointed up towards the ceiling if that's comfortable. If it's too much on the back, you can bend the knees, bring the soles of the feet into the mat. Again, it's always adjustable, finding what works for you. Beautiful. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And then when you're ready to come out, we're going to roll over onto the floor off of the bolster. So if you've got this crosswise, it might be a little trickier to roll off of it because it's still there. So rolling up and then push it through. Excellent. All right. So our next pose is going to be another modified pose. So we're going to come into a supported bridge. So that was a back bend and this is a back bend. So pay attention to how this feels for you. If you do a lot of cycling and you have a tendency to round forward onto the handlebars, this might be a big stretch. So just be careful what you're doing. So I'm going to recommend lowest level for the block to start. You can work your way up, or if this is too high, you can come down lower. You can take a blanket and unfold it so that it's a thinner level. All right, so I'm going to come up onto this. So we're going to bring the feet, the heels close up to the hips. The knees, the heels, the hips are all lined up. So we don't want the knees out wide or over to one side or in too close. And I'm going to push in at the block where you can reach it. I'm going to push in with the arms and inhale, lift the hips up towards the ceiling so I have enough room to slide this block under. So the top of the block is at the top of the sacrum or the top of the hips. If it's not where it should be, it will be way more uncomfortable. It still may not be fabulously comfortable. You can put a blanket over that if it's too sharp. But if it feels awkward, you might want to slide it around and find that more comfortable position. So this is our supported bridge. If you have a very flexible back and you're more comfortable, you can come up to a higher level with the block. But just for today, we're just going to rest here and let the front of the spine and the front of the rib cage open up. So you can bring your arms down by your sides. They can come out and away from the body. That might feel more comfortable on the shoulders, letting them relax and open up into the floor. So come back to the breath. And then maybe wiggle the toes and the fingers a little bit before we move out of this position. So when you're ready to come out, we're going to inhale and lift the hips up so we have room to slide the block out. And then coming down nice and slow out of our supported bridge. We're going to bring the knees up into the chest. So we're going to undo a little bit of that, come back to symmetrical. So we'll do our Apanasana here. Hands are on the knees. We're going to exhale, knees come in. Inhale, release. So we're only moving the knees back and forth a couple of inches. But this is our inhale breath because we have space now to breathe. We're going to exhale and inhale. If this is uncomfortable, you can bring the knees out a little bit wider. Gives you a little bit more space in the lower spine and the back of the neck. Beautiful. All right. So we've got one more set of poses, and that's for our runners. So we're going to come up to our hands and knees and do our 6 directions kneeling. So rolling over onto your side to come up or across the legs and roll up. We'll start with hands and knees. All right, so our first 2 directions again are cat and cow. And this is probably the first time where it actually looks like a cat and cow. So our cat starts with the exhale, tucking the chin, rounding the spine. On the inhale, we're going to round the opposite and look towards the horizon for our cow. Leading with the collarbones. Exhale, back to cat. Inhale, rounding forward, looking ahead. Excellent, back to cat. And one more cow. Wonderful. All right, so our next 2 directions are the laterals. So we're gonna take this left hand and place it sort of under the shoulder, wherever that's comfortable. And then we're gonna take this right hand and walk it over towards the left, next to it, in front of, past, wherever that works for you today. We're gonna turn and look at that left foot. So let's breathe into that right side body. Maybe from the fingers to the toes or the shoulder to the hip. Or if you want, simply into that right rib cage. Excellent, walk it back. And let's go to the other side. Left hand walks over, in front of, past, wherever you like. Turning and looking at that right foot. And let's breathe into that left side body. Fingers to toes, shoulder to hip, or right into that left rib cage. Excellent. Walk that left hand back. And then we're going to do our twist. So let's do our open twist today, which is our gate pose. So we're just going to do the low gate pose. Left hand stays where it is. We're going to send this right foot out to the side. On the inhale, right hand comes up towards the ceiling. Exhale, bring it back down. Tuck that right knee under. Send that left foot out. And on the inhale, let's bring this left hand up towards the ceiling. Excellent. On the exhale, left hand comes down. Tuck that left knee under. And then just a couple of cat and cows to come back to symmetrical. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Couple on your own. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, we're going to come up to standing. And again, I'm going to come up from my downward facing dog. If you want to just come up to a forward fold, you're welcome to do that. Walking the hands a little forward, curl the toes under, inhale, lift the hips. And then just take a moment and push in with the hands, extend that spine, nice long torso. Looking up at the hands, walk the feet up to the hands, or you can walk the hands back to the feet. A little bend in the knees. Arms come out to the side. Inhale, arms come all the way up. Palms together, exhale, hands to heart. Excellent. All right. So we're going to come into a standing pigeon. So this is another balance pose. And if you need a wall or a chair, you're welcome to grab that. So we're going to start with our left foot in the mat, bending that knee so we have a little shelf for this right ankle. And then you've got a couple of options here. You can bring that left hand on the wall or your chair. Bring the hands to the heart. Or if your shoulders feel okay with it, bringing the hands behind the back. And then maybe they lift up a little bit. Excellent. And then coming out, let's go to the other side. Right foot into the mat. Bend that knee, little shelf for this left ankle. Hold on to the wall or hands at the heart, or grasping the hands together, clasping, and then lifting up with the hands. So any of those options, whatever works for you. And then coming back out. Woo, shake that one out. That one's a good one. All right. Our next pose is our Malasana or garland pose. So if you are a seasoned runner, you might have some tightness somewhere. So if you have a blanket or something else to come up onto, you are welcome to try that. So I'm going to bring my heels up just to show you, up onto the blanket. The balls of my feet are on the floor. Bring my hands together at the heart, bending the knees, coming down just as far as is comfortable, or as far down as in you can still get back up. So you can practice with the blanket for a while until you can get a little bit more stretch out. And eventually you may be able to come down to your heels, you may not, and that's okay. We're all in different bodies and we didn't get it in one day. So we're not going to come out of it after one class. All right, so let's take another breath or two here. Excellent. And then when you're ready to come out, let's just come down to hands and knees. And then we're going to grab our blocks. All right, if you want to do a couple of cat and cow to release out of that, you're welcome to do that. And then you have the option of using the blocks. If you don't want to use them, that's fine too. Sorry, let me grab my cat and cows here. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale. Excellent. Back to a neutral spine. Now we're going to come into a twisted low lunge. But let's do a couple of regular lunges first. So we're going to start with this right leg first. So not everybody can just bring their foot up straight like that. So the helpful way to get there Got 2 blocks here, and we're going to swing this right leg out and around, and then bring that foot in front of the hip. So that gives us a little bit of space to come down or come forward with it. All right, so next I want to bring the hips down towards the floor. So can't really see what I'm doing, but I'm bringing the hips down this way. So this knee comes out, hips come down. And then let's come back up to center. And I'm gonna bring my hands up onto my knees, or knee, right knee. And then I'm gonna bring my arms up overhead. Excellent. Hands come down to the block. I'm gonna switch legs. And you can bring it out and around. Hands come up onto that left knee, and then arms come up. And then we'll work our way back down. Excellent. All right, so for this next one, we're gonna come, and if you wanna use the blocks, you're welcome to do that. If you don't want the blocks, that's fine. Either way. So let me do it once with the blocks and once without. So we're gonna curl the toes of that back foot. So that right leg is back right now. So we're coming up into a medium lunge. I would say low lunge is down on the knee. High lunge is all the way up. So we're kind of halfway in between. So we're gonna do a twist here, and I'm gonna put this block flat so I've got a little bit more space. You can come all the way down to the floor if that's more comfortable. And I'm gonna take this left arm up towards the ceiling. So this is our lunge twist. Excellent. You can bring that left hand down. We're going to come down to that right knee and switch. So let's bring this left knee back. Right foot comes back up. And then we're going to do the twist again. So I'm going to bring this block down one level. Curl the toes of the left foot. Bring the hips up to that medium lunge. And then this right hand comes up towards the ceiling. Excellent. Right hand comes down. Left knee comes down. And then we're going to come out of this back down to our hands and knees. Cat and cow. And then let's come back to the floor. So sitting over onto one side or the other. Let's see. Let's see if you can see what I'm doing this way. We'll try it. I'll talk you through it. All right. So feet at the bottom of the mat, hands on the knees, rolling back onto the flat of the back. We're going to bring the arms out to the side. And then both feet come down to the mat. And then we're going to bring the right leg out straight. And then that left knee crosses the body. And you can rest your right hand on that left knee. It's okay with your neck looking out over that right hand. So you can keep that right arm out if you prefer. And if you want, you can bend that right knee. Just something to play with here. Grab the right toes with your left hand. And maybe, if there's nothing in the way, kick that left foot out straight. Bend the right elbow. So now we look like a star or a pretzel, maybe. All right, so bend that left knee. Release the right foot. Both arms out to the side. Bring the feet back to the mat. And then knees come straight up. If the hips feel a little wonky, bring the knees in first, and we'll do 2 or 3 Appanasanas to find that symmetrical again. All right, release the feet down to the mat, arms come out to the side. We're going to extend the left leg. That right foot can come on the left knee to roll over, bringing that right knee towards the left side. You can rest that left hand on that right knee if that's comfortable and look towards that right hand. If you want to do some more add-ons, you can bend that left knee, grab that left foot with the right hand, release the left arm up, bending at the elbow. This looks like a starfish. Or maybe it just feels like a starfish. All right, and then unwind both arms out to the side. Bring the knees back together, feet to the floor, and let's do a couple of apanasanas. And then we're going to finish this class with our legs up the wall. So if you don't have a wall, you can still do that without the wall. You can just bring the legs straight up. If you have a wall, which I do, I have a half wall. So I'm going to come back to the wall, sliding up so that my hip is on the side here. Legs come up, and then my arms are out to the side. So we'll be here for a few moments. Relax into the pose, letting all of that hard work you did today drain down and out into the earth. Relaxing. Let's go down the joints here. So relax the toes, relax the ankles, relax the knees, relax the hips. Relax the whole spine from the tailbone, the very tip of the tailbone, all the way to the base of the skull. Relax the shoulders, relax the elbows, relax the wrists and fingers, release the jaw. I'll stop talking, and then just take the next few moments and just be. You're welcome to stay here as long as you are comfortable. But whenever you're ready to come out, we're going to bend the knees and roll over onto one side or the other. Bring that arm under your head that's closest to the floor. Take a breath or two here before we come up. And then when you're ready to come up, you might need to come away from the wall a little bit. Use your upper arm, pushing up, sliding over. Bring your hands to the heart, to the forehead or to the heart. And I thank you for spending this time with me today, and hopefully you found something that will feel great for your practice. And I wish you a good day. Thank you and namaste.